Good evening, wellness culture. I hope you are doing well this Tuesday evening. I'm doing well. My wife just got home, Lydia. She was away for the last few days out visiting for a memorial service out in the Midwest. So I'm happy that she is back. The kids are happy that she's back. They all survived the trip, which I think is a win as a dad watching them, that my kids survived. So I'm just going to toot my own horn on that one for a little bit. But she got up at about it was about midnight our time, Pacific time, and we got home from the airport at like 2:30. So she's pretty tired, and I'm tired because I've been running house with the kids, and we also had company in town while she was gone. Still have company here right now, and so I've stayed up a little too late. And so I'm a little in need of some rest and energy. So I think this is a fitting topic for us to discuss today. It's also a fitting topic for us to discuss because we have the energy challenge starting at the end of this week, for which I am very much excited. We'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of this class. But I want to hop on here and give you some of the tools that we have come to know and to love for supporting rest in our house and supporting energy in our house, and things that you can be doing and implementing right now. Why it is that we find that in our modern society that we tend to be under-rested and low energy, and why we end up being in this space where we're often band-aiding our energy levels, and what it can lead to in our lives, and some ways that we can help to kind of change the pattern of things and live a healthier pattern for our families, set a healthier pattern for our families, as well as for ourselves, in just being able to thrive throughout the day, not just getting through it and surviving, going, man, I gotta have another cup of coffee, or I gotta take another power shot just to keep me going throughout the day. And by the time I get home from work, to spend time with the kids, I am just spent and exhausted. I want you to be able to have energy to sustain it, to be able to do the things that you need to do, but also be able to do things that you want to do in your life, that you're just able to not just get by, but that you're actually thriving from day to day, that you're enjoying your life, that maybe at the end of the day you could say, hey, I actually have excess energy. Do you remember last time that you felt that you've had excess energy in a day? I have 4 kids and number 5 is on the way, so I think it's going to be a long time before I can say that I have excess energy. But I definitely have tools that I use that help me to be in a space where I can say I have the energy and I was able to do the things that I wanted to do with my kids all the way to the end of the day. Now, there's also times when I can say that I definitely didn't have energy, and it's usually because I didn't use those tools or because of lack of discipline in my own patterns of rest and making sure I'm taking care of myself. So why are we so tired? I think that if we all, took a poll and said, do you feel really well rested? I think most of us would say we're tired. Like I said, it's been a busy week for our family, so I will definitely raise my hand and say I am tired. And the number one thing for that, it's super obvious, it's that we don't sleep enough in our society. About 100 years ago, what was considered normal, you can look this up just in history, what people considered a normal amount of sleep was closer to 9 to 10 hours a night, for adults even. So you can see how that shifted, that, now it's said, maybe 8 to 10 is a little bit more normal, but really adults are kind of expected to function on 6 to 8, or depending on the job, maybe 5 or 6 hours of sleep. And some of us may be able to sustain that better than others, but really, what is it going to do in the long run for our health? Are we burning the candle at both ends? And what is it going to do to us in the long run? So really, if we're lucky and we're not getting that 9 to 10 hours of sleep, we're lucky really if we get 8 hours of sleep. And I want to just shout out to our teens and our kids that they need to be getting a lot more sleep than we think. New studies have been showing that teens are actually needing close to as much sleep as newborns. They really need to be in that 10 to 12 hour window of sleep with all the development and hormonal changes and brain developments that they're having in that stage of their life. But we pile all these expectations for them in high school and whatnot, that they have just an unreasonable amount of workload put onto them, that they are really having to work way past what they can handle, and they don't have the space to really get the rest that their bodies need in this important stage of development. And so we need to have better sleep cycles for that. Also, we need to be sleeping earlier in the day than we often do. There's a reason why with the rhythms of life, the sun going up and coming down, all these things that we're supposed to be following those patterns. But as you see, it's very bright in this room right now. I do have the window open, but there's a deck, so we don't get a lot of sunlight in this. But all the light that you're seeing on my face right now, these are from lights. These are artificial lights. These are light bulbs in the room lighting up the room. And with the invention of the light bulb, we're able to sustain that light, and it actually throws off the rhythms and balance of our body from that we're really designed to be in bed a lot sooner than we most often are in our society, especially that window from 10 a.m. to about 10 p.m. to about 2 a.m. This is when our body's doing a lot of its repair work. And so if we miss that, if we're going to bed, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, or even 2 o'clock at night, we're really missing out on a lot of that healing sleep time that our bodies are hormonally triggered and designed to do. Now, if you have a job where you can't, get into those spaces, we'll talk about at the end some ways that you can help to counteract some of those things, some ways you can support your body and be able to enter into those sleep cycles and still get what you need. But really, that is the picture of the ideal of what we're looking for. So, and a big area of that is something that really is upsetting our rest is that artificial light, and not necessarily so much of the lights in our homes. Usually have a softer color light, but blue lights from our screens, from the device that I'm, teaching this class into, staring at my phone. What do we do to entertain ourselves when we go to bed? We turn on a TV show, we have Netflix running or whatever. But that blue light exposure that we're getting off of our screens, it's a lot closer to that of daylight. So our brain, it sees it, we get this response from that going onto our face, going into our eyes are processing it, and our body goes, oh, it's still daytime, I need to wake up. So our body continues to produce those hormones to keep us awake, and it says to melatonin, which is the hormone that gets triggered when we need to go to sleep, it says, hold off, it's still daytime, we need to be awake. And so having systems to be able to block out those things or cutting back on that time is really important. Stress is another huge factor on why we feel so tired. Our bodies, when we are constantly going through a stressful situation, it really, really makes it difficult for our bodies to enter into that space of rest. If you sit down in a chair right now, maybe while you're watching this class, and you just stop for a moment, let your shoulders actually relax and take in a deep breath. Can you feel the weight, maybe, of the stress that you've been carrying around so far today? We're oftentimes subconsciously, we have so much stress, so you can feel the tension in our shoulders, in our neck, in our back, of everything that we're carrying around with us, all the worries and strains, and whoa, what am I going to do with this thing that's happening at my job, and we got to get the kids over here, and we're planning for this trip, and I don't know how it's going to happen, and all the things just come up. And it's so hard for our bodies to do it. And in our modern society, we are just inundated with stress. There's more stressful things because we see all of this stuff. Just daily news on social media. If you're just scrolling through on Facebook or whatever, we're experiencing way more stressful news in our life than people would have experienced over the course of an entire lifetime 200 years ago. Just from, just in the content of one newspaper, or just scrolling for 15 minutes on Facebook or on your favorite news site, whatever. It's traumatic to our bodies. We carry that stress, literally the stress of the weight of the world we're just not meant to bear. And it leaves us in a place that we can't rest. We can't relax and get that deep rest that we really need. Sickness makes us feel really fatigued. If you're always fighting with something, if you're constantly getting, seasonal bugs or whatever, If you're fighting with, not just sickness of like a cold or something like that, but sickness in your body of some kind of dis-ease, some kind of discomfort that you are experiencing, whether it's chronic pain, whatever it may be, these things take a toll on our bodies when we go through those things. I know someone who had constant chronic pain for almost a decade of my life. I know what it's like to have that fatigue, feeling of I just can't rest because my body has been working and fighting against that pain, that it's been that background white noise all day. It's exhausting to our body. So those are some really, really big things. So what can help us? Well, I'm going to start out with the first section of sleep. So I'm someone that I suffered from sleep anxiety from like literally my earliest memory. I remember being afraid that I wasn't going to be able to fall asleep. I really wanted to fall asleep before my parents fell asleep. And so I would sit there, I could hear them, maybe listening to a program on the TV or something, or I could hear them talking downstairs. And I'd just sit there and I'd be like, I need to fall asleep. I need to fall asleep. I'm not falling asleep. I can't fall asleep. I don't know what to do. And I would totally just wind myself up. I would, so often, so many nights I would end up downstairs just in tears because I felt like I couldn't fall asleep. And I was so worked up and worried over those things. And it really wasn't until a few years ago that I started finding tools that really helped me in fighting and controlling and helping my body to say, okay, I can enter into this rest. So making sure we're getting that space, again, going back to that stress, that we can do those things. One of the most important things I can say for that is magnesium supplementation for our body. Magnesium is something that our body needs. It's a mineral that our body desperately needs in order to deal with and process out stress in our bodies. So getting a good source of magnesium into your body, especially in the evening hours of the day, is really important. I've noticed a huge difference when I have good magnesium in my body when I go to sleep. Our gut health can affect those things. They say that you're think with your gut. You have those gut feelings and stuff, and that's true. So if our guts are unhappy, it can cause unease in our body. Maybe we're worried about things that are going to happen in the day, and our gut is just churning. Supporting that microbiome in our guts, getting a good probiotic. Those things are really important for helping us to be able to get that good night's sleep. So we're not churning with all that stuff inside of our bellies. It's like things like having good enzymes too are really important for that nighttime work of digestion, to be able to let go of that stress and anxiety for things. Some other things I found really helpful, like foot baths. If you ever have done an ionic foot bath, I'd recommend to go to a professional for those. I know they sell ionic foot baths. You get like on Amazon and stuff, but the professional grade ones, it really makes a huge difference of just getting that chemical detox out of your body again, to be able to get your body into that space of relaxation. Vitamin B is also really important with dealing with stress and helping to process out stress. So making sure you have a good source of vitamin B in your body is hugely important for helping with stress and getting our bodies into a space of sleep. Now I'll say with the B, you may not want to take that before bed because it can actually give you an energy boost, but it is helping to work out those things. I will say though that I'm a weirdo, and there are some people like me who are also weird, where it can actually help them sleep. So if I take a B supplement, like our Super B supplement before bed, I actually find that I sleep better. But for most people, that's not the case. So I recommend to take that earlier in the day. So some of my favorite sleep support products from Young Living that we have. ImmuPro. This is a good one. This is a good short-term fix. This is not one that I recommend to be taking on a regular basis, because it is a melatonin supplement, and we want our bodies to be naturally secreting that. And if we're relying upon external sources for melatonin long-term, it's not necessarily a good thing for our body. It's full of minerals, and it's got polysaccharide complexes to help restore natural sleep and get us back into that natural rhythm of sleep. So like I said, it's meant for that short-term reboot, but if you're having problems really like getting to that space of falling asleep, this is a great one to have on hand for those times. Sleep Essence. This is a cocktail of oils that is just really help the body to just be able to be relaxed and grounding. It has lavender, vetiver, valerian, tangerine, and rue oils. It's just a great way to get your body to just relax and be. Mineral Essence. This is one of my favorite sources for good magnesium. It also has lots of other trace minerals in it that really just helps our body to be able to process through things. This is a great source. My other favorite one that I just love on the go, and I just love the flavor of it. I like Mineral Essence, but some people don't like the flavor. Just another note on Mineral Essence as well is that that's one that sometimes you need to start with a really small amount, depending on if your body is deficient in trace minerals. It may be like putting a drop, like a single drop in the water. I think it goes up to 3 half droppers for a full dosage. I feel like I can't get enough of it. I love the taste of it. It's great when I take that one. But the other one that I like for magnesium, and it's great for the kids. Night and day difference when we do that. It's great if the kids are like up and wound up and they're just go. And we're like, okay, we need to get them to calm down. We use the Unwind magnesium supplement for the kids. It tastes really great. It tastes like a natural pixie stick or something, so the kids love it. It's got like this watermelon flavor. I love it, and it just really helps to get the body to just relax and enter into that space of rest. Sleep oils. Some of my favorites. I love things like Hope. For the kids, Sleepy Eyes is amazing. Believe is a really good one. And Lavender. Those are some of my favorites. We usually put them on a rotation, so their body doesn't get used to having the same thing again and again. So what we'll do is we'll do one oil for like a week straight, and then we'll swap out to another sleep oil. If you want some big guns for that, the Freedom Sleep Kit comes with Freedom Sleep and Release Kit. The Freedom Sleep Kit, it's another great tool to get your body back into that rhythm of sleep if you're having issues with that. For gut support, for getting our guts to be able to digest things and not keep us awake, I love taking Essential Zymes, Life 9, Digize, and Lemon. Those are really, really good ones for that. Raindrop massage. Again, this is similar, I'd say kind of on the vein of like the ionic foot bath type thing. It's going to help to kind of get our bodies to be able to just relax and detox. And anytime you have a massage, I just find that I feel sleepy afterwards. So if you do this like late at night, a raindrop massage, it's a great way to kind of get our body into that space of rest. For bath time, doing a good Epsom salt bath can be really relaxing. We also have our bath bombs. So we have the lavender bath bombs, and for the kids, they came out at Christmas time. I don't think they're still available right now, but do watch for those again in the holiday season. I'm hoping this will come out as a standard. They had the Sleepy Eyes bath bombs. We've used those for the kids. We still have some. And those are just great. Again, if the kids are like up and whatnot, we're like, okay, let's do bath time. And they start playing and they get relaxed. And it just really helps them get into that space of sleep. So now we're going to shift gears from that rest side to talk about energy. And I want to first say that anytime that we start supporting good rest, it's automatically going to mean that we are going to have more energy. So if you are cheating yourself on rest, if you're cheating yourself by, trying to do too many things in the day, you're staying up too late, trying to get your body to relax or whatnot, and then, compromising, and then you get up super early to try and do all this stuff, you actually may be hurting yourself, and you may be getting less done because you don't have the energy to really sustain yourself throughout the day. So the first place to always start with energy is make sure that we're getting enough rest for our body. But again, this is one that we really like to ignore, right? We love to just put a Band-Aid over it and say, I'm good, I'm going to keep going. So we sit there, we drink another cup of coffee, we take those energy shots, any kind of stimulant that we can find just to hide the fact that our bodies are absolutely exhausted. It's kind of like putting a Band-Aid over a gunshot wound and say, I'm good, I'm fine, I'll just walk it off. It does not solve the problem if you're bleeding out. And it can lead to things like adrenal fatigue, which, long term, you may be able to go for a while, but you're going to hit a point where you're going to crash. And you're going to crash really hard, and the road to recovery from that is a very tough one. So we can say I'm strong, I'm toughing it out, just another cup of coffee is going to get me to the way. But, our body, when it says it's tired for a reason. And we need to respect and listen to what our bodies are saying. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. We are designed for these things. And I look at scripture and it says that we are designed for work. And it also says that we are designed for rest. One of my favorite Psalms is Psalm 127. It says that, unless the Lord builds the house, the builder builds in vain. And it says that it is vain that we stay up late with our work. It says it's vain to do that because God gives to his beloved even in their sleep. He's given us the gift of rest. He's given us the gift of work. These are things that we both get to do. So we get to receive those gifts and not neglect those things. So something that I think is also strange about our culture in this area is that, again, we think that, sometimes it's like a badge of honor when we do these things. It's like almost like the challenge. Like I think of, my days in college with people like, I drank so many, energy drinks to stay up all night and write this paper and do these things. And, how many cups of coffee have I had today? This is my fourth pot of coffee or whatever. And it's like, it's not a competition for things, but it almost seems like, things like mono that we get, in high school and college, it's almost like this badge of honor, like, I worked so hard, I'm doing so many of these things, I'm being so productive, look at me, Mr. Achiever, Miss Achiever. And it's like, great, you got this disease in your body that's a result of you not taking care of yourself and not resting. And really, it's a sign of your body saying, can you please stop and take care of yourself, because this is not the way to live. So it's not a badge of honor for us to be able to go and do all the things, all the activities. It's not something that's going to help our lives. And if we keep playing that game, it will lead to things where we will not be able to be present in life in the ways that we want to be. Interesting things with energy. One that I found out about that's really fascinating is cravings. If you're experiencing cravings, especially something like like chocolate, it can be coffee. It's probably because you have a caffeine addiction. But anyway, chocolate. Things like this can be a sign of magnesium deficiency. And so we're running to those quick fixes, those quick things, those quick hits. We put more sugar in because we want that sugar high and function on the short-term energy for things. But it's not actually solving the problem. Our body actually wants the real deal. It wants the real sources of energy that we're not giving to it. So watch your body for those cravings and see if, what is the root thing that is actually there? What's the key thing that your body is trying to find that it's missing? If you've been addressing low energy for a long time, what I recommend for you to do is talk to your doctor, your care provider, whatever. If you don't have someone, try and find a good naturopath or holistic doctor who's willing to kind of look at these things, who has more experience with kind of the hormone side of things, endocrinologist or whatever, and get a hormone panel done, especially for your thyroid numbers and your cortisol levels, because these can be benchmarks, including things to see what's going on in your body. And certain tests on these can be better than others. So like for your cortisol levels, it's supposed to be a bell curve throughout the day. So they're supposed to be lower, higher, lower at different points of the day. And so if we're getting just a one-time snapshot, it may say that you're fine, but there are people who can actually just sit there and flatline at their cortisol level throughout the day. And that means that you may be functioning, but things aren't actually going well for your body. So we need to be sure that we're actually addressing the things that we need. So getting something like a good 24-hour long saliva test is a really good way to test those things out to see our levels for that. Other things that can be cutting our energy out, things like parasites and yeast overgrowth, that can really sap our energy and be something that can lead to that space of long-term exhaustion. I know that that's something for me. I had parasites, and so doing ionic foot baths was something that helped me with parasites. Before my time with Young Living, I was doing foot baths. But it was really gross. You'd actually see, maybe mute this if you don't want to hear something gross, but doing the foot baths, you could actually see the parasites sitting on top of the water afterwards that had come out of your body. So it's like, that's really disgusting to know that those things are there. But those can be culprits of things that are leading you to not have the energy that you feel. So why are we out of energy? We're exhausted and we're not taking care of ourselves. That's the biggest thing. We're not doing the things that we need to do to take care of ourselves. Self-care is not something that is just for the elite. It's not a bougie thing for people to do. Self-care is something that we all need to do in order to function and do the things that we have been created to do. If we're out there not taking care of ourselves, it's hard to do those things. I like to think of this as like when you're flying on an airplane, it says, if they deploy those oxygen masks, they say, put the mask on your face first. And I always thought that was strange. It's like, well, kids and stuff, we want to get them first, but if you don't have what you need, you cannot help the person next to you. And so it's the same thing with life. If we're not taking care of ourselves, we are not going to be able to do the things that we actually need to do, that we're created to do, that we're designed to do. We cannot live into our purposes if we are not taking care of ourselves. So this is such an important thing for us to be able to do. So what can help us? Stop running to the quick fixes, those things that are really just hurting us, and start making those choices that lead to small wins in helping to support our energy. It's also really important to reduce stress in our lives. Same thing with rest. It's going to sap us from that energy, so we really need to get good things to reduce stress. As we talked about with that before, getting a good B supplement, magnesium, just stopping to breathe in your oils. This can be huge, just that space of breathing and just relax, let those things out. For me, if you're religious, prayer can be a really important thing. Meditation, relaxation, doing things that you actually find restful. Sometimes we can, try and run to our hobbies, but, if your hobby is skydiving or bungee jumping, that's not a very restful hobby. So we need to make sure that we have those things, those moments of actual rest, that space, we call recreation. I like to break down that word, recreation. We need that space where we can actually get that rest. We can slow down and actually get put back together for the things that we are going to do throughout the week. Getting more sleep, cutting back on, doing all the things, saying no to things. We don't have to live this crazy busy life where every single minute of every single hour is scheduled out and booked. Some of the most successful people, some of the most accomplished people in the world who are seen as doing all the things, they actually have big chunks of time where they make sure that nothing is scheduled so that they don't have to do anything. They can stop, they can rest and be, so that they can accomplish those big goals that they have. If we're constantly going, we're just spinning our wheels and we're not really able to give that focused, good attention and energy that those things deserve, to really give that 100%, rather instead of running around and just 20% here, 20% here, 20% here, 20% here, So, favorite things for supporting energy. And I want to say, this is not an excuse for help, making another Band-Aid. We can run to these things and go, oh, I'm just going to do that. You can say, oh, I'm just going to up my vitamin B levels and I'm just going to go. And that's going to be great. No, these can't be an excuse to Band-Aid and just keep going. We have to take care of ourselves. So let's start with talking about calming oils, things that are going to make us slow down, because that's going to be what gives us more energy. Because stress depletes our energy, and we waste so much energy worrying and stressed out over everything for the day. Some of my favorites for that, things like the CBD Calm Roller, Valor, Sacred Frankincense and Frankincense, Peace and Calming, Stress Away, citrus oils, and the evergreen oils. These are just really good grounding oils that just helps us to get into that space of stopping, calming down, and resting. It's going to be huge for your energy levels. Some oils that help with boosting energy and mood. Things like Awaken. This is it's basically the feelings kit in a bottle, and this one really helps to stimulate the pineal and pituitary glands in our endocrine system. It just helps us to our bodies to go, okay, can almost take that fresh breath of air. Motivation oil. This is a great one. This one, the ones that can, it's really interesting because it's got a lot of really good sleep oils in it, like Roman chamomile and lavender, but it actually helps to just kind of almost be like a fresh breath of air for our minds. You think about that, if we go out and get a fresh breath of air, it just helps to kind of like wake us up and really clear our thoughts out, so that can be a really good one. Peppermint is one of my favorites. I love doing that one, especially while driving, because it can help support our breathing and stuff as we're driving through traffic and all that, not necessarily being in the best air. That one can really help to keep us more alert. Spearmint, it's like the little brother of peppermint. It's a good one, a little bit less strong. Nutmeg and clove. These ones can be helpful for the adrenals. Endoflex can be helpful for the thyroid. The blend Energy kind of has oils for both sides of those things, and black pepper. So those are some of our favorite oils for energy. If you're experiencing mental fatigue, some things to help feed our brains. We have really good supplements for that, to get us the fatty oils that we need, not essential oils, but fatty oils. Things like MindWise and Omega Gies, and then oils that just kind of help support the brain, things like brain power and genius, rosemary, sage. Those can be really good things for it. And then just overall nutrients to help support our bodies to get good energy. Something like Ningxia Red. The recent studies that were done on that has actually shown that can actually help it's been clinically proven to help improve sleep. And as we said, if we're improving sleep, we know that we're going to be improving energy. And having the right space to be able to feed our bodies to get what it needs, that's how we produce energy, and Ningxia Red is just packed full of those things. Ningxia Greens is another great one for that. Getting all the minerals and vitamins we need, something with our master formula is a really good space for that. And mineral essence to make sure that we're getting those trace minerals again to help keep our bodies going. Some quick ones that are just good for on the go. Ningxia Nitro. It does have a small amount of a good source of caffeine in it, so not one I again say that you just be running to all the time. But for instance, when we drove up from Washington in one day with all of our kids, all of our animals, it was like an 18-hour drive, and I was sick. I was definitely taking Ningxia Nitro to help me stay awake and alert for driving my family in that time. Super great for that. Ningxia Zing is another one that's got a little bit of naturally occurring caffeine. Good one for that. And then I love things like Super B and Super D, and just helping support my energy. So, I told you I'd also mention the Energy Challenge. This is starting up in just 2 days from now. So for the second half of the month here, we are going to be doing a 15-day challenge with, I at least have Nitro and Ningxia Red on hand, but we're also doing Super B. I think I got that up on the shelf up there. So what this is going to be is it's going to be taking at least 2 ounces of Ningxia a day, 2 to 4 ounces of Ningxia. The sachet is 2 ounces, and taking 1 Ningxia Nitro a day, along with 2 Super B tablets a day, and seeing what that can do to help support your energy levels and in a more natural way. So if you want to join that challenge, you can see in the pin post here in this group details on that challenge. Like I said, we're going to be running it for 15 days. We're probably pretty close, unless if you want to overnight it to the space. If you don't have these products, you're not going to be able to start it right now. No problem. You can start it partway through the challenge and start your 15-day partway through and jump into that. There's also a Facebook group that has been created for that. So if you're interested in that, we'd love to get you into that Facebook group. They're giving lots of great information on these products, lots of great tips on just supporting your overall energy levels, sleep tips, all those things, and they're also doing some special giveaways as well for those things. So this is just a great thing. Like I said, I'm excited to be starting this, especially this week because we were super busy. I'm going to be upping my Ningxia amount more than I normally take, and I'm excited because I've never taken Ningxia Nitro more than like one here or there, mostly like on a drive or something like that. So I'm excited to test that out and see what my body does with that Ningxia Nitro for these 15 days. And I hope that you join us for that challenge. If you have any other questions or comments or things that you found helpful for rest and energy, we'd love to continue the discussion in the comments. And I hope that you have a great day and a restful night and energy to not just survive, but to thrive for you and your house. Take care.